On this vote, the yeas are 200, the nays are 198. The motion is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider laid upon the table.
That vote you saw right there was by the MAGA Republicans to block an effort by the Democrats to remove the unlawful tariffs that have been placed against Brazil. Democrats were trying to lower the price of coffee, which has basically doubled in a very short period of time because of Donald Trump's 50% tariffs against Brazil. The MAGA Republicans blocked the effort to make coffee cheaper. Time and time again, we're seeing the MAGA Republicans being ordered by Donald Trump to do things that affirmatively inflict pain on the American people, including send our government into a shutdown. We are about 2 weeks away from that government shutdown. MAGA Republicans, led by MAGA Mike Johnson, really led by Donald Trump at the top, they want to have a what's called short-term continuing resolution to try to push the deadline of when a government shutdown will take place through November. They refuse to speak with Democrats. No negotiations, no talking at all. One of the things that Democrats are very worried about is that the Affordable Care Act premium tax credits, which have lowered those premium costs for tens of millions of people, that's set to expire very soon. That's in addition to Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans gutting Medicaid and harming the Medicare program. And so Democrats are trying to say, look, let's negotiate, let's figure out how we can save the Affordable Care Act. And MAGA Republicans like, we don't even want to talk to you. We're done speaking. We're just going to do whatever Donald Trump says. Let me show you what MAGA Mike Johnson just said recently, that I want to show you what Trump ordered him to say. Then I want to show you these other tactics that are currently taking place in the House of Representatives as the MAGA Republicans are intentionally not doing the work to try to keep the government open so they can try to blame Democrats for a government shutdown when they control all branches of government. So here was MAGA Mike Johnson in the most recent interview that he gave, and he says basically it's going to be the Democrats' fault for a government shutdown if they don't agree to a continuing resolution through November. Y'all control every branch of government. What do you mean it's going to be the Democrats' fault? Here, play this clip.
Have you back. You were in the middle of answering about Obamacare's tax subsidies, possible sanctions against Russia, and a government funding mechanism. Please continue.
Yeah, sorry about the interruption there. Listen, we're very encouraged that we've been able to restore the regular appropriations.
Right, but are we going to get this done? Are those two other things going to be added to the process, Mr. Speaker?
We'll have to see. I got to build consensus around all of it, but I think we'll need a short-term funding measure, a clean CR that will allow more time to figure all this out. And we certainly hope that Democrats will go along on that, because if not, they really have no excuse. If they shut the government down, it would be their unilateral decision to do so.
And when Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, says, as he did this weekend, now is the time for Russia sanctions, President Trump opened the door on tariffs against India and China as a way to create economic leverage to end the war in Ukraine. Where do you stand on all that?
Now, just so you can see for yourself, here Donald Trump, during an interview he gave in the past few days, he said that basically he's ordered the Republicans, he's ordered MAGA Mike Johnson, do not negotiate, do not speak with the Democrats. Donald Trump goes on and says that they're radical and extremists. I think in other interviews, he basically says that they're like terrorists. And this is the rhetoric that's coming from the MAGA Republicans here. And then Donald Trump said, we don't need even Democrats' support for anything. To which a reporter asked him, but in the Senate, don't you need 60 votes? For the continuing resolution in order to stop a filibuster? Don't you need 60 votes? Trump's like, no, you don't. You absolutely do need 60 votes. So if the Republicans are not speaking to Democrats at all, then the Republicans are going to be to blame when the government gets shut down, when Democrats oppose it. And Democrats better oppose it this time. I was livid when they did not oppose it in the Senate last time and allowed the government to continue to engage in these authoritarian tactics. Here's what Donald Trump said, so you can hear in his own words, just so I bring out the receipts. So you hear Donald Trump saying, no negotiation, no compromise, Democrats are evil. That's not the way government's supposed to function. It really isn't, but this is what MAGA has turned our government into. Here, play this clip.
They signal they will not vote for a clean short-term government funding package How does President Trump deal with the government?
Well, we have to get Republican votes. That's all. If we do, we have the majority. So we have to get.
But don't you have to get 60? Don't you?
No, we're going to do a probably continuing resolution, or we're going to do something. So we're going to do something that. Here's the problem: the Democrats they're sick. There's something wrong with them. Schumer is, at the end of the rope. He's going to be defeated in the next election. If you gave them every dream right now, every dream that they want to give away money to this and that and that, destroy the country. If you gave them every dream, they would not vote for it. That's how bad. I told them, don't even bother dealing with them. We will get it through because the Republicans are sticking together for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think it was important that you heard that for yourself. Now, I want to show you the tactics that are being used in the House of Representatives to delay, and then basically just waited to the very last minute to try to force a government shutdown. As Colorado Democratic Congressmember Neguse says, so House Republicans are now wasting time amid a potential government shutdown to urgently authorize a national coal council, the same council Donald Trump already reestablished and authorized in June. Now, 4 months later, there have been no plans, no meetings, no members, just a website that says coming soon. Watch as Congressmember Neguse cross-examines this Trump official and exposes that there is no substance to this National Coal Council. It doesn't even exist. It's just Donald Trump wanting to say, I love coal. Here, play this clip.
So Trump established this council, reestablished it in June. Who's the chair of the council? Do you know?
I'm sorry, I don't.
There is no chair. I went on the website this morning, couldn't find one. Do you know who serves on the council?
Right off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you either because there are no members who serve on the council. No members have been appointed since the Trump administration established this commission or reestablished this coal council nearly 4 months ago. They haven't bothered to name one member or name a chair of the council, notwithstanding the urgency that you described that this issue merits. Do you know how many times they've met since June?
I'm thinking you're going to tell me probably they haven't met at all since
that's a great guess.
Since there's not a council.
You are right, sir. Council, coalition, commission, whatever you want to call it. This new entity that the Trump administration has reestablished as an urgent priority to boost coal production has not met once since this all-important executive order that was issued in June. They have not named any members. They have not named a chair.
Now, the importance of that, again, is that it's showing that the MAGA Republicans are engaged in all this performative crap versus actually trying to speak with Democrats and keep the government open and work for the American people. That shouldn't be a partisan view, a Democrat or a Republican. That should just be an American view right there. Here is a group of Republicans. Now, they say on camera that they're impatient and they're frustrated with what Donald Trump is doing with Russia, meaning nothing, no sanctions, that Donald Trump's looking weak, that he's getting played. You'll see Senator Tillis, Senator Ernst, Congressmember Bacon saying, this was yesterday, Trump is weak on Russia. We better move for sanctions on Russia. Russia is playing us like a piano right now. But ultimately, none of these people are taking the action. So stand up. This isn't just, using lofty language about what Russia's doing. America's getting destroyed right now by Russia. America's getting so much weaker right now as Russia humiliates us every day. Take a look at what's going on Capitol Hill here. Play this clip.
Russia's playing us like a piano right now. He's gotten everything he wants. He's gotten access to the president with a red carpet reception.
I think it is time to move on Russia's sanctions. President Trump wants to make sure that he is giving every opportunity for peace to get this war resolved, but Putin is playing him right now, and I think the president understands that.
He's been weak on Russia. I think he's been great on Iran, but he has been terrible on Russia. He is unable to call Putin out as the invader and have a more moral clarity about who's at fault in this war.
Now, I'll give a shout out to Manu Raj. You have seen it. He does a great job here. And he said, he asked Johnson, Speaker Johnson, if Trump should also condemn what's been happening to Democratic politicians and violence that has happened on the right flank. And predictably, MAGA Mike Johnson said he had no issue. It's no fault of Donald Trump for not criticizing Republicans in any way. Here's the thing, folks. Once again, I'll play you this clip in a moment. The shooter in Utah of Charlie Kirk came from a Trump family, 22-year-old white kid, gun-toting family. It fits the profile over and over again. What was it? Like 75, 85% of all of these shootings over the past decade have come from right-wing extremism. Just statistically, it's right-wing extremism. It's people like the person in Butler, Pennsylvania, who tried to assassinate Trump, right? It's like that young person, who came from a Trump family and was familiar with guns. We see that over and over again, these disturbed young white men. It's just the reality. Again, that's just what's happening. Here's what Manu Raju says here. Play this clip.
And there's also a lot of debate and discussion about President Trump's own handling of all these issues of political violence, these episodes that have happened increasingly over the last several years. I asked Johnson if Trump should also condemn what's happened to Democratic politicians and violence that's happened on the right flank, not just on the left flank. He would not go that far. He said he had no issue, no fault for Donald Trump at all. But I did ask Lisa Murkowski, the Alaska Republican senator, about Trump's handling of this issue. She said that we should condemn all violence, left or right. Violence is violence.
Now, here's Democratic Congressmember Jason Crow. Here's what he's got to say. Let's play it.
It was a horrible tragedy last week, Jake, a horrible tragedy. Every American and every elected official and leader must unequivocally condemn political violence, the violence we saw last week, the violence we saw last year, and the threat of violence right now. So what we need are leaders who are willing to do that and not just say that they're willing to do that. Your prior guest, Mike Lawler, said all the right things. He said we need to condemn it. We need to condemn it on both sides. That is right. But the silence is deafening coming from Republicans who are unwilling to call out Donald Trump's very dangerous rhetoric right now, where he's calling Democrats a domestic terrorist organization, calling us enemies of the state, calling us traitors. That is making things much worse.
Here's what Congressmember Jim Hines has to say. Let's play this clip.
Let me ask you about the moment as well, the Charlie Kirk stuff. Do you feel safe right now? What would it take for you to feel safe if you don't?
When you go into this job, you assume the risk that is pretty horrible. And I know we're having a long conversation about security and should we have $15,000 or $20,000. You know what we should do? We should shut the hell up and be solemn and dignified in the face of a tragedy, right? I got to tell you, one of my worst moments in my decade and a half in Congress was that day that Charlie Cook was killed. And some of the Republican members, well known now, decided that they would seize that moment without a fact in the world, not to be solemn, not to urge calm, not to remind us of the angels of our better nature, but to say, you did this to the Democrats. It's your fault. By the way, this is the message coming out of the Oval Office. This is both a way to get more violence and less safety, and also the hallmark of somebody who has no business in a position of leadership. A leader takes a deep breath. A leader sort of waits for the facts to come out. And regardless of what those facts are, a leader says, we don't do violence in this country. We resolve our disagreements peacefully and in a democratic fashion. And by the way, the American people should look at their own congressmen, should look at their own governors. I'm going to call out Spencer Cox of Utah, who's been doing a beautiful job in trying to take down the temperature. But look at your senator, look at your governor, look at your member of Congress. And if they didn't say, deep breath, calm down. In this country, we don't have enemies. We have people who disagree with us, and that's a strength of this country. If they didn't take that tack, fire them. Fire them now.
And I think what they're saying is absolutely right there. I mean, that's what's going on with Capitol Hill right now. October 1st is the shutdown. We're heading in that direction. But you heard Trump say, don't speak with them. What are you supposed to do if you're a Democrat and the other side doesn't even speak to you, doesn't even talk to you? How could you work with them? It never used to be that way until Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong, there was hard fought politics, but they would talk to each other. Now it's don't even speak, don't even look at them. That's what MAGA has done into our politics, which I hate, I despise. I wish that we went back to common sense and working for the American people.